The Love and Hip Hop Atlanta universe is shaking after Mendeecees Harris decided to drop a bombshell that no one saw coming. And this time, the target isn't just anyone. It's power couple Rasheeda Frost and Kirk Frost. What started as a casual night quickly turned into a reality TV earthquake. With rumors, accusations, and receipts flying like confetti. One moment, everyone was laughing. The next, Mendeecees opened his mouth and flipped the entire room upside down. The shade wasn't light, it was pitch black. Social media went wild within minutes. Twitter threads, TikTok clips, messy Instagram lives. Everyone wanted to know what exactly he said. And the best part, Rasheeda and Kirk weren't about to stay quiet either. This isn't just drama. This is betrayal, secrets, and ego colliding in the messiest way possible. And trust me, nobody's walking away clean. The night started like any other filming event on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, lights blazing. Cameras catching every angle, and egos taking up more space than the room itself. Everyone thought it was going to be a smooth night, a party, a few shady comments, some playful drama. No one expected Mendeecees Harris to step up to the mic and detonate a bomb that would ripple through the entire cast. Rasheeda Frost and Kirk Frost were standing together like they always do, matching outfits. Polished smiles, their power couple image perfectly intact. They've weathered scandals, rumors, and messy cast feuds before, but tonight, it wasn't just whispers in a corner. It was a direct hit. It started subtly. Mendeecees wasn't even supposed to be the center of the scene. The original plan was a light celebration. Spice had just dropped a new single. And the cast had gathered at an upscale rooftop lounge in downtown Atlanta. Drinks were flowing, music was loud, and everybody was sizing up everybody else. Like usual, but when the host of the night handed Mendeecees the mic, something shifted. He didn't smile. He didn't hype up the crowd like he normally would. Instead, he cleared his throat, straightened his jacket, and said, "I think it's time some truths get told in this city." At first, people laughed it off. They thought he was joking, or maybe just tipsy. But when he turned toward Rasheeda and Kirk with that look, the entire room froze. "You see," he began, voice calm but sharp. "Everybody want to play perfect on camera. But off camera, some of y'all are living lies," the crowd murmured. Rasheeda's brows furrowed, but Kirk squeezed her hand like he always does when he's trying to keep the image clean. Mendeecees didn't flinch. "I kept my mouth shut long enough. But if we're gonna keep it real, let's keep it all the way real." He took a step closer to where they were standing. Security and producers shifted uncomfortably on the sidelines, but no one stopped him. He had the mic and he had the floor. "You always act like your marriage is perfect. Like you're the example," he said, locking eyes with Kirk. "But we all know what really goes on behind the scenes. And I'm tired of people pretending." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Cameras zoomed in. Kirk's face was stone. Rasheeda tried to step forward, but Mendeecees raised a hand not to touch her. Just to make sure his words landed. "You want to preach loyalty?" he said, his voice now loud enough to echo over the music. "You want to tell everybody how to be a couple? But how loyal are you really?" The crowd went dead silent. "Let's talk about what happened in Subo," Mendeecees added, letting the words hang in the air like smoke. Rasheeda's face fell just a little, the slightest crack in her composure, and that was all the confirmation the room needed. Even if nobody knew exactly what he meant yet, they knew it was bad. Kirk shifted uncomfortably, but his jaw tightened. "You don't know what you're talking about, man," he said through his teeth. Mendeecees just laughed. "Oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about. You can lie to them, but you can't lie to me. I was there." People started pulling out their phones. The producers didn't even stop them. They knew this was gold. Yandi Smith Harris tried to step in. "Mendeecees, baby, maybe this ain't the time." But he waved her off. "No, it's exactly the time. I've been quiet too long. Y'all been moving messy behind the scenes, and now you want to act like saints on TV?" Rasheeda finally spoke, her voice firm but shaking a little. "You better watch what you say. Don't play with me, Mendeecees." "Oh, I'm not playing," he shot back. "I'm exposing." And just like that, the night everyone thought would be about music and dancing turned into the opening scene of a scandal. The crowd started buzzing, cast members whispering, trying to piece together what exactly he was hinting at. Somebody yelled from the back, "What happened in Cabo?" And the entire room erupted in messy laughter and shouts. Mendeecees smiled, the kind of smile that said he knew he'd just set off a bomb that couldn't be contained. Rasheeda looked at Kirk, then back at Mendeecees. Her jaw was locked. She wasn't about to give him the satisfaction of seeing her break. Kirk's hand tightened on her arm, but he didn't speak. That silence was louder than any denial. Producers swarmed around them, trying to regain control, but it was too late. The moment had already gone viral. Phones were up, live streams were running, and hashtags were already forming. That was how it started, not with a fight, not with a confession, but with one man deciding he wasn't holding anything in anymore. And now, nobody was safe. Not even Atlanta's so-called strongest couple. The aftershock of Mendeecees' Harris bombshell was immediate. By the next morning, the internet wasn't just buzzing, it was on fire. Hashtags like hashtag Sabo Secrets, hashtag RASHEEDA and Kirk, and hashtag Mendeecees said what were trending on every platform. The short clip of him on the mic, looking Rasheeda dead in the eyes and saying, "I was there," had already racked up hundreds of thousands of views overnight. In Atlanta, where everybody knows everybody's business. It didn't take long for the whispers to turn into fully formed theories. People claimed they knew exactly what happened in Cabo, even though nobody really did. Some said Kirk was seen leaving a private villa at 3 a.m. with someone who wasn't Rasheeda. Others swore Rasheeda had her own secret that night and that Mendeecees caught both of them. Whatever the truth was, the mystery was louder than facts. Meanwhile, the Frost household wasn't calm either. Rasheeda paced the living room while Kirk sat stiff on the couch, scrolling through his phone, reading comment after comment. "This is exactly why I told you to stay low at that party," she hissed. "You always attract drama." And now he got the whole internet acting like he got some proof. Kirk looked up from his phone, trying to stay composed. "You act like I planned this, Rasheeda." Mendeecees the one running his mouth. He looking for clout. Everybody knows how he move. She shot him a look. Clout or not, he said he was there. So what the hell was he talking about? Kirk clenched his jaw, that familiar look he gets whenever he's caught in the storm. He ain't got nothing real. Just some rumors he's trying to make sound big. But Rasheeda wasn't stupid. She's weathered enough scandals with Kirk to know when something is just gossip. And when there's smoke, and this time, the smoke was thick. Elsewhere in the city, Mendeecees sat with Yandi Smith Harris at a quiet brunch spot. Yandi wasn't happy. "Why'd you even open your mouth?" she demanded, stabbing at her avocado toast like it was Kirk's face. "Because I'm tired of fake," said simply, leaning back. "Everybody on this show walks around acting like they perfect, like they better than everybody else. They got secrets just like the rest of us." Yandi shook her head. "But baby, now it's not just their business. It's our business too. You dragged us into a war." Mendeecees didn't flinch. "Then let it be war." He pulled out his phone. His DMs were flooded. Some messages were from people begging for details. Some were from people who clearly already had some. And then there were a few from castmates, half threatening, half curious. Everyone wanted to know what he was holding, and the truth. He did have something weeks before the Cebu trip. He had overheard something at a private dinner, a heated conversation between a close friend of Kirk and another woman. At first, he didn't care. It wasn't his business. But during Cabo, he'd seen something that stuck with him. Kirk, slipping out of the group villa late at night. Then later, whispers about a private balcony, a woman in a white dress, and security guards being asked to keep their mouths shut. He hadn't planned to expose it that night at the rooftop party. But when he saw Kirk and Rasheeda smiling like nothing was ever wrong, something inside him snapped. Meanwhile, production was already spinning into action. The producers of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta smelled gold. This is it. one of them whispered during a morning meeting. This is the story arc that's going to light up the season. They immediately began reaching out to cast members, planning a group scene where Mendeecees, Kirk, and Rasheeda would be in the same room. The word got back to Rasheeda fast. She didn't like it, not one bit. "They want to make a fool out of me," she said to Kirk. "They want to turn our marriage into their circus again." Kirk sighed. "Rasheeda, they've been doing that for 10 years. This ain't new." She turned to him, eyes cold. "Yeah, but it feels different this time." "He said he was there, Kirk. That means somebody saw something. So tell me right now, is there something I don't know?" Kirk hesitated just a second too long. That silence was everything. "You gotta be kidding me," she whispered. "Not again." Before he could answer, she walked away, leaving him alone with his guilt and his phone blowing up with notifications. That evening, a producer texted Mendeecees the details of the upcoming sit-down scene. It wasn't going to be a quiet conversation. It was going to be filmed in a downtown loft with cameras, microphones, and every cast member on standby. They wanted fireworks, and they were going to get them. Mendeecees stared at the message, then at his reflection in the dark screen. He knew once he spoke again, there would be no going back. The Frosts, Mendeecees, Yandy, and everyone else were about to step into the kind of scene people talk about for seasons. The question wasn't whether the truth would come out, it was how ugly it would be when it did. The day of the sit-down came fast. The downtown loft was transformed into a cinematic battleground. Low lighting, velvet couches, and every camera in the room pointed toward the three main players, Mendeecees, Harris, Rasheeda Frost, and Kirk Frost, outside the glass windows. Atlanta's skyline glowed, but inside the air was tense and thick, like it could snap at any second. Even the crew was quieter than usual. Everyone knew they were about to film one of those moments that fans replay for years. Mendeecees arrived first, .com, unbothered, dressed in all black. He wasn't here to apologize, he made that clear in the pre-interview. "I said what I said," he told producers. "If the truth burns them, that's on them." Rasheeda walked in next, heels clicking like gunshots on the hardwood floor. She was radiant, but anyone who knew her could see it. The tightness in her jaw, the way she adjusted her diamond cuff like a weapon. She wasn't coming to cry. She was coming to check him. Kirk came last. His face said it all. He wanted to be anywhere else. No sunglasses, no PR smile. Just a man standing on a stage built out of his own mistakes. The cameras started rolling. "Thank you all for being here." The producer's voice echoed behind the lens. "We just want to get to the bottom of everything that happened at the party." And Cabo. That last word? Cabo made Rasheeda shift in her seat. Mendeecees leaned back, cool and collected. "Ain't nothing to get to the bottom of. I said what I saw. They just don't like that it came out in front of people." Rasheeda snapped her head toward him. "You got real bold with that mic, huh? You've got a lot to say behind a drink, but say it now, clear in front of me." He didn't even blink. "Fine. I saw your man. I saw Kirk, middle of the night, in Cabo, and he wasn't with you." Kirk shifted uncomfortably, his hand rubbing the back of his neck. A dead giveaway to anyone who'd been watching this couple for years. Rasheeda's voice sharpened like a blade. "Who was he with? Mendeecees?" He leaned forward. "A woman. Light skin. Curly hair. Black dress. I ain't gotta make this up, Rasheeda. I know what I saw." The room went still. Kirk tried to laugh it off. "Man, stop acting like you a private investigator or something. You ain't see what you think you saw." But that shaky laugh didn't convince anyone. Least of all Rasheeda. Mendeecees cut him off. "Brew, don't play with me. I know what I saw. And you weren't sneaky about it either. Half the staff saw you. I'm just the one who said it out loud." The producer's eyes widened behind the cameras. This was gold. Rasheeda turned to Kirk, her voice low. The kind of low that's worse than yelling. "You really gonna sit here and lie to me on national TV again?" "Rasheeda, I'm not. Don't," she cut him off. "Don't start with the excuses. Every time it's I didn't mean it like that. Or you got it wrong. But the thing is they always write about you, Always. The tension in the room spiked. Crew members shifted nervously. The other cast members watching off camera whispered like kids in the back of a classroom. Kirk straightened in his chair. I ain't cheat on you. I didn't touch nobody. They just twisting things. Kay snorted. Bro, you walked out that villa holding hands. Ain't nobody twisting anything? The sound of Rasheeda's ring tapping the armrest echoed like a drumbeat. She leaned forward, eyes burning into Kirk. You think I'm dumb? Kirk looked at the floor dot for years. Rasheeda had played the loyal wife role on reality TV. She'd forgiven Kirk in front of the world the affairs, the baby, the lies. And she'd always said it was because they were building something bigger than the drama. But tonight, something in her cracked. You know what's crazy? She said, voice trembling but steady. I defended you every time. Even when the world clowned me. Even when women DM'd me with receipts. I told myself you changed. I believed you changed. And now I gotta sit here again and hear this. Kirk tried to reach for her hand, but she pulled it back like fire. Mendeecees folded his arms. See, this is what I meant at the party. Everybody want to act like they relationship goals. But the truth be messier than the confessionals. Shut up, Rasheeda snapped at him. You think you doing me a favor exposing him? You're not? You embarrassing me? Mendeecees lifted a brow. I didn't embarrass you. He did. That one sentence hit like a slap. Kirk finally spoke up. Rasheeda, I swear it's not what it looks like. Yeah, I was talking to someone, but it wasn't like that. Talking to someone? Rasheeda repeated slowly, like she was processing a foreign language. You really gonna use that line again? His mouth opened, but no words came out. The silence was deafening. Mendeecees leaned back with a grim smile. And there it is. The producer finally stepped in. Let's take 5, but it was pointless. The damage was already done. Rasheeda stood up, adjusting her blazer with a slow, sharp movement. Nah, I'm good. I'm done sitting here listening to the same man give me the same story with a different dress code. She started walking toward the door. Kirk followed, but she spun around. Don't touch me. Kirk froze mid-step. Every camera was locked on them. It wasn't just a scene. It was history for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. A real fracture. Mendeecees stayed seated, watching it unfold. Y'all mad at me for telling the truth? But the truth was already living in your house. He muttered under his breath. Outside, fans were already piecing everything together from leaked production clips and cast whispers. Cabo, the mystery woman. The rooftop party. This wasn't just a storyline anymore. It was the beginning of the biggest frost scandal since the baby drama. And as Rasheeda walked out of that loft with her head high, but her heart breaking, Kirk stood there, exposed, cornered. And once again the villain in a story he swore would never repeat itself. The real question now wasn't whether they'd fix it. It was whether Rasheeda wanted to. The sun was barely up the next morning, but Atlanta was already awake. Social media was flooded. Clips from the loft scene, blurry angles from crew phones, and anonymous insider tweets were everywhere. The words Mendeecees, Rasheeda, Cabo were sitting right at the top of trending lists. Reality TV fans are relentless. Within hours, timelines were flooded with slow-motion replays of Mendeecees Harris pointing at Kirk Frost, Rasheeda pulling her hand away, and the tense silence that followed his week. It's not what it looks like. People were dissecting lip movements, background noises, even security's facial expressions, like they were analyzing courtroom evidence. Meanwhile, Rasheeda was sitting alone in her home office. For the first time in a long time, the cameras weren't rolling, and no glam squad was hovering around. Just silence. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Texts from friends, brand partners asking if everything was okay, and a few just checking in messages from cast members who clearly just wanted tea. She didn't reply to any of them. She scrolled past a headline that read, Mendeecees exposes Kirk and Cabo scandal. Is this the end of Atlanta's power couple? Her jaw clenched. She hated how icily people were ready to see her as the woman who got played again. It wasn't just gossip to her. It was humiliation on a public stage again, at the Frost House. Kirk was pacing the living room trying to rehearse what to say when cameras inevitably showed up. He'd been through this cycle before. Deny, minimize, smooth it over. It always worked. Until it hacked, he called out, "Rasheeda." But she didn't answer. When she finally emerged, she didn't look angry. She looked tired. That scared him more than the yelling ever did. "We need to talk," he said carefully. "No," she answered flatly. "You need to talk. I'm done filling in the blanks." Kirk sat down, rubbing his hands together like a man about to step into a storm. "I didn't sleep with her," he started. She laughed once, not out of humor, but out of disbelief. "You really think this is about just sleeping with someone?" "Kirk, this is about me sitting on TV again looking stupid because you can't respect what we built." Kirk lowered his voice. "It wasn't like that. It wasn't planned. We were at the after party. She was there. I was drunk. We were at the after party. She was there. I was drunk." "Oh my God," she interrupted, throwing her hands in the air. "This is literally the same speech from 2017. Word for word. Stop talking." Because she was right. And then, she added, voice cracking just slightly, "You sit there and let Mendeecees expose you instead of owning it. You let him be the one to put my business out there. Do you know how foul that is? I didn't let him." "Yes, you did. You didn't say nothing. You stood there like a man with no backbone. That's what you did." Kirk couldn't find a comeback. Rasheeda crossed her arms, steadying herself. She'd spent years standing next to this man through scandal after scandal, convincing herself love was enough. But something about this hit different. Maybe it was the look on Mendeecees' face when he said I was there. Maybe it was how easy the lie rolled off Kirk's tongue again. Or maybe it was just the weight of everything finally landing on her shoulders that at that exact moment. Production was in overdrive. The network smelled ratings gold. A producer texted Rasheeda about filming a healing dinner scene with Kirk and Mendeecees. She stared at the message, then tossed the phone onto the couch. She wasn't ready to heal anything. Not yet. Elsewhere, Mendeecees was sitting at a barbershop, surrounded by a few guys who'd already seen the viral clips. They weren't holding back. Double quotes, "Yo, you really shut that man down on camera. You ain't lie though, bro. He'd been moving funny for years." Mendeecees smirked. But it wasn't about pride. "I just told the truth," he said. "Ain't my fault the truth cracked the foundation." He knew people were calling him messy, but he didn't care. Kirk had been walking around like the perfect husband for years. Giving advice to other cast members, throwing shade like his house was clean. Now the mask had slipped. Back at the Frost House, Rasheeda sat in her glam room staring at herself in the mirror. She wasn't crying, not yet. She was just quiet, trying to decide who she was going to be in this chapter. The forgiving wife who smiles for the cameras, or the woman who finally says, "Enough." Her assistant poked her head in. "They're asking if you're still doing the brunch scene tomorrow." "Yeah," Rasheeda said after a beat. "I'll be there." She wasn't going to hide. If the world was going to talk about her, she was going to walk in with her head high and give them something to look at. That brunch the next day was supposed to be casual. Just a few cast members, no big drama, but everyone knew what was coming. When Rasheeda walked in, every eye in the room followed her. She was wearing a clean white outfit, flawless hair, and sunglasses that screamed. Unbothered. Mendeecees was already there, sitting at the end of the table like a man waiting for a verdict. He looked up and their eyes locked. For a few seconds, nobody said a word. She sat down opposite him, cool and calm. "You really love the spotlight, huh?" He tilted his head. "It ain't about spotlight. It's about truth. If it wasn't true, it wouldn't hurt so bad." The table went quiet. "You didn't say it to help me," she said. "You said it to hurt him. Don't act like some hero." Mendeecees shrugged. "Maybe. But either way, now you know." Rasheeda leaned back, crossing her legs. "Oh, trust me. I've known for a long time. You just said it out loud." That line hit him harder than he expected. She stood up again, done with the brunch before it even began. "Congratulations," she said. "You didn't just expose him. You exposed me, and I don't forget that." She walked out, leaving the table buzzing with whispers. Mendeecees sat still, staring at the doorway she'd just walked through. In that moment, he realized something. This wasn't just drama for TV anymore. This was personal, and the fallout. It was just getting started. The night after the brunch, Atlanta's sky was dark and heavy, but the city was wide awake. The clip of Rasheeda Frost walking out on Mendeecees Harris was now everywhere. Memes, slow motion, edits, fan-made voiceovers. The internet was treating it like a season finale before this season had even ended. Inside her house, Rasheeda sat in the corner of the living room. No glam, no lashes, just her and her thoughts. The TV was on, but muted. Headlines flashed on every entertainment channel. Mendeecees versus Frosts. Love and hip-hop. Atlanta implodes. She'd lived through scandals before, but this one hit different. Maybe because this time she didn't defend Kirk. She didn't spin a lie. She didn't smile through it. She walked out. Kirk came into the room quietly. For once, no excuses were sitting on his lips. No fake calm. He sat across from her, his voice low. "You ain't said nothing to me all day." Rasheeda didn't even look at him. "Because I don't have anything left to say that hasn't been said before." He exhaled slowly. "You're gonna let this man break us up?" That was the wrong question. Her head snapped toward him, her eyes sharp. "No, Kirk, you did that." He didn't break anything that wasn't already cracked. He just ripped the bandage off. Silence sat between them like a wall. For years, Rasheeda had held everything together. The businesses, the brand, the family, the image. She had forgiven, ignored, rebuilt. But tonight, for the first time, she wasn't sure she wanted to. "You don't get it," she whispered. "You keep treating our marriage like a storyline. Like there's always a next episode. Like I'm never gonna leave because I never have. But I'm tired of playing the loyal wife in a script I didn't write." Kirk leaned forward. "Rasheeda, I love you. I messed up. Yeah, but it's not like, don't." She raised her hand, stopping him mid-sentence. "Don't minimize it. Not this time. Not when the whole damn world saw it before I did." He didn't have an answer for that. Meanwhile, across town, Mendeecees and Yandy Smith Harris were sitting at their kitchen counter. She'd watched every clip, read every comment, and she wasn't impressed. You wanted to call out Kirk? Fine. But now it's turned into a circus. And our names are in the middle of it. Mendeecees leaned back, unbothered on the surface, but she could tell it was wearing on him. "I didn't do anything but say the truth. He the one who got caught up," she sighed. "Yeah, but now you're the villain too. You think people care about truth on this show? They care about drama. And right now, they painting it like you came to blow up their marriage for clout." He didn't respond. Because maybe, just maybe, part of it was personal. He'd watched Kirk for years act like the big brother of the group. Giving marriage advice, fronting like his house was spotless. Mendeecees had had enough of the hypocrisy. But this wasn't about just Kirk anymore. This was about the fallout. By the weekend, the producers had already scheduled the next cast meeting, the all-hands dinner scene where everyone would be in one room. Every franchise fan knew these episodes were explosive. It's where alliances shifted, tears dropped, and glasses flew. When Rasheeda walked into the venue that night, heads turned. She wasn't hiding. She wore a sharp black blazer, sleek hair pulled back, diamond studs glinting like armor. She was done playing nice. Mendeecees and Yandy were already seated, tension radiating between them. Kirk came in last, looking like a man walking into a courtroom. "The cameras rolled, let's just get this out the way," Rasheeda said, cutting off any producer introduction. "I'm not here to fake nothing. I'm not here to sit around and act like everything's cute when it's not." Mendeecees tilted his head, calm as ever. "Nobody asked you to fake it." She shot him a look. "Oh, but you loved being the one to spill it, didn't you?" He smirked. "I loved seeing the truth come out." "Yeah." "Then congratulations," she said, her voice steady. "You've got your show. You got your moment. But understand this. You didn't expose anything I didn't already know deep down. You just said it out loud. Kirk shifted in his seat, feeling the weight of every eye in the room. Yandi spoke up softly. This whole thing got real messy. And honestly, I don't think anybody won here. Rasheeda glanced at her. You're right. Nobody won. But at least now the mask is off. The table fell silent. Finally, Kirk cleared his throat. I messed up. The room froze. I ain't gonna sit here and spin it no more. I put myself in a position where it looked bad. Real bad. And that's on me. Frue? That was the first honest sentence he'd said in weeks. Rasheeda leaned forward, voice calm but cutting. You keep saying you messed up, Kirk, but you don't change. That's the part that breaks me. His voice cracked a little. I don't want to lose you. You should have thought about that when you were out at 3 a.m. in Cabo, he shot back. Mendeecees didn't say anything. He didn't need to. The truth was sitting at the table between them. The producers knew they had gold. But the cast knew something else. This wasn't just a scene anymore. This was real. As the night ended, Rasheeda walked out first, shoulders straight, head high. Kirk followed a few feet behind, but she didn't slow down. Mendeecees stayed behind. Staring at the empty wine glasses on the table, Yandi rested a hand on his arm. You threw the match, she said quietly. Now let's see if they burn or rebuild. Back in her car, Rasheeda finally let herself exhale. Not cry, not yet. But exhale? She'd spent years fighting to keep her image polished, her marriage intact, her brand strong. But for once, she wasn't fighting for anyone else. She was standing on her own, and as the city lights blurred past the car window, one thing became clear. This wasn't the end. The storyline, it was the beginning of Rasheeda writing her own. If you've been following this drama from the start, you already know this was one of the wildest storylines in Love and Hip Hop Atlanta history secrets. Confrontations, betrayals, and real emotions laid bare. And trust me, it's far from over. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.